Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be painting up some Night Lords from the Nemesis Claw kill team. To begin with, I'm just laying down a very liberal coat of Night Lords blue across the entirety of the armor. As always, I do apply 2 coats of this to get the finish that I need. Once that base layer is all dry, I come in now with Drakenhof Nightshade and apply this over the entirety of the blue foundation that we've put down. Now I'm starting on the highlights with Cantor Blue. With this, I like to just stipple it on across the entirety of the armor, but of course staying away from the deeper recesses. I want to try and create a gradient going from darker to brighter as we move up closer to our light source. Next up, Elatic Blue, continuing on with the highlights. This is going to be the brightest color that we go for. Again, stippling across, just doing less than we did on the last pass. This makes it really easy to see the contrast between the light and darker colors that we've applied. Also, if you look carefully here while doing the shoulders, that's where you're really able to see what it is I've been trying to do and achieve with the stippling motion. Now moving on with Iron Warriors, going to start picking out the silver trim pieces. So got these belt kind of straps across the front of the torso, all the chainmail down the front and the knives, as well as his Nostraman chain glaive. Now with Known Oil, gonna slap this across all of those silver areas that we just did to just deepen those recesses and make the details pop. Moving on now to Rune Lord Brass. I'm going to use this to pick out all of the trim across the rest of the mini, and my goodness, does this just pop and contrast so well with that blue. I just love the look of this. We're going to give these trim pieces a quick wash with Seraphim Sepia now. I feel this really does bring a bit of warmth into that color as well. And again, just helps build and emphasize those shadows and unique curves in this armor. Now with Wraithbone, I'm going through and I'm just putting a base down of this across all of the flayed flesh on the mini, which is his little piece on the front here, and also the cape on his backpack. Next up, I've got Mephiston Red. I'm using this to just pick out the wings on the Iconography, which is located on his shoulder and on the backpack also. Moving on to the leather sections, I've got Rhinox hide now. I'm just picking out the pouches and straps. Admittedly, I do go back at a later stage and paint over the straps with red. Now I've got Evil Sun Scarlet, just doing a quick little highlight across the sigils on his shoulder and the one on the backpack also. Jumping back over to the leather, I've got Mornfang Brown. I'm just going to go across, do some stippling and scratches across the pouches, just to give it the aged appearance and bit of wear. Now with some Eshin Grey, going through the armor joints and just picking out those little raised areas. Up next, I've got a few different flesh tones: Rakarth Flesh, Flayed One Flesh, and Cadian Flesh Tone. Now these I'm just going through, picking out sections across the Flayed Flesh cape that the Night Lord is sporting, just using different tones to just build up variation. Now, while this human flesh cloak is still drying, I've gone back to Mephiston Red, where I'm just going through now and just filling in these side parts on the Batwing helmet. I want to break up the coloration that we had and get a bit more contrast on the mini and tie it in with the emblems that we've painted up as well. Now, jumping back over to the cape, I've got some Carroburg Crimson. Now this I'm just applying very heavily across the whole thing. This is going to get into the recesses and help to generate a lot of tonal variation as well. This is going to act like a bit of, almost like trying to emulate bruising across the skin. So now, as you can see, I'm just stippling on different flesh tones here to just tie it all together, bring in all that variation and just make it look like it's, you know, actually flayed, been removed while someone was living. Now I'm jumping in with a fluoro red. This is just to bring out the plasma glow effect I'm trying to go for. All honesty, I wasn't terribly happy with how this turned out with this paint. It looks very pink. I tried a couple of times and I just couldn't get the look I wanted. The eyes, however, I was very happy with how they turned out. And now with Canoptic Alloy, I go through and just pick out a few of the higher points across the previous trim layer that we did, just to make these highlights really stand out. And of course the Night Lords wouldn't be Night Lords without their iconic lightning bolt patterns across their armor. So just with straight white, I'm just lightly freehanding these across. A little fun fact about the Night Lords with this effect as well is that I always just assumed that it was, you know, just exactly as we're doing and painted on their armor, where in fact the Night Lords project this lightning visage across their armor to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. They also can project their atrocities. So if they're slaying someone, flaying someone, they can project that image across the armor as well. I now go in with a bit of a fluoro blue and go over the lightning patterns that I've already established. I then decided that I wanted to repaint over these. I wanted to do it a bit thinner than I had previously done in white, just to try and have a bit of a blue glow behind the white lightning strike. It kind of worked out, but not as great as I wanted to achieve. Next up, I've just grabbed some Dusty Skull, going through now, just finishing off, tying everything together and finishing up the bones on the back of the cape. Then give that a quick wash with Agrak's Earthshade to darken that down, deepen those recesses before going over the highlights with Skeleton Bone. And lastly, some Pallid Witch Flesh. Just using this to just highlight the dead head trophy that he's carrying on his back, and just picking out a few highlights across the Flayed Flesh cloak.
Run and hide, you gutless little worms. Run and hide. It doesn't matter how far or how fast you flee. We will still catch you. And when we do, we will peel the skin from your flimsy bodies and pluck the eyes from your screaming heads. So run if you want to, vermin. The chase only makes it more fun.
With this Night Lord complete, I now have 3 Traitor Legions remaining. The Iron Warriors, the Alpha Legion, and the Black Legion. If you've made it this far through the journey with me, greatly appreciated if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe, leaving a like and comment. I'll see you in the next one.